Welcome to Urban Knife Guy, where we explore the urban knife style and jungle survival. Today I'm in the jungle once again, and to show off really more Fieldcraft with the LionSteel M3. Recently I shared my 6-month review of this knife, but to tell you the truth, that was filmed some time ago. So I've really owned the knife and used the knife for more like 9 to 10 months. But I generally film some videos way ahead in advance, and that was one of them. So this can be seen as maybe a 9th-month review, but also to show you the capabilities. Now I did show off some of the bushcrafting capabilities in my 6-month review. So this is to add on to that. So if you want to check out that video, do check out the link in the card above or the description below. I also did a previous video almost a year ago on why I chose the LionSteel M3 as my bushcraft knife. So I'm not going to go through that explanation again. You can check out that video and follow the link above or in the description as well. So this is the M3, but it is in a custom Kydex sheath. Now, the original came with a nylon molly style sheath. Now, it worked for a while, but after use, the blade was cutting into the strap. I also wanted to have a single hand deployment, and with that sort of a nylon soft sheath, you need 2 hands to really take out and put in the knife. And I always prefer a Kydex sheath, mainly because I'm in a tropical jungle. It's always wet, it's humid. Anything that's leather or cloth tends to absorb moisture, and I do not want that, so I do prefer a Kydex sheath. And in this case, this has a drainage hole so that if it does get wet, I can easily drain it out as well. Now this has a great clip. As you can see, this goes onto my bushcraft and survival belt, and it doesn't ride high just due to the design. If you look at some Kydex sheaths, let's say from Tops Knives, you notice that the clip is right here below the handle of the knife, and this causes the handle to ride very high, and a lot of people do not like that. With this particular design, as you can see, the blade actually can ride lower, and I can actually make it ride even lower if I have to shift the clip up by 1 hole, as you can see. But if I do that, I'll need to add additional spaces, because what you do need is space here to be able to grip the knife. If this goes up, my hand won't be able to go in unless I add extra spaces. So that's just something to note if you're going to use this sort of a clip. And with this, I also have my ferro rod, so everything in one complete package that goes onto my belt. Now let's talk about the steel just a bit. This is Nylon Steel, and as I mentioned in my previous videos, I was not familiar with Nylox prior to owning this knife. I mean, I knew about the properties. I know it's somewhere in the range of a D2 and a Sleipner steel, both which LionSteel likes to use, but Nylox is a stainless steel, and this is one of the reasons I chose it as well, because I just didn't want to deal with rust. I wanted a knife that could be easier to maintain. Now, my worry was really the ease of sharpening and of course the edge retention. Now in general, I would say the edge retention is good enough for your outdoor bushcraft task, but don't expect it to keep a razor hair popping edge throughout. Maybe that's not realistic for any steel, but specifically for the Nylox, that razor sharp edge will go after you start chopping, carving and battening and things like that. However, I did find that with the right practice and technique, it was easy enough to sharpen. I do use a diamond plate sharpener for that, and I use a leather strop, and I get it really sharp very quickly. I would say I spend no more than 10 minutes on the whole process, and I can get it to hair popping sharpness once again. So it's actually quite easy to sharpen, and I can actually sharpen it in the field as well, which was a concern for me when I was choosing a knife. And with this Nylon Steel, over time I found how to actually sharpen it, get the angles right, and know exactly how much pressure to put in, and of course with the stropping as well. So comes with practice, but you can get it sharp. So I'm actually very happy with the steel. So stainless steel, tough, there is good enough edge retention, but it's easy enough to sharpen in the field, and that's really what I think is important, at least for me, for my needs, what I'm looking for an outdoor knife. Your needs may be different, and if you're looking for maybe a survival knife, sort of an all-in-one knife, maybe this won't suit you. Maybe you find it too small, it doesn't have the blade geometry that you want, or maybe the shape. But as a bushcraft, or what people would consider bushcraft or camping or general outdoor knife, I think this is still great, right? In terms of the ergos, the weight, the blade geometry, the size of the belly, that height of that knife, the thickness, which is, I believe, about 5 millimeters, and that jimping, which is very gentle, not too hard. Great in the hand, whether you're wearing gloves or not wearing gloves, and can do really a lot of different things. And I showed them in my video, and let's do even more things today, and let's check out the blade. For paracord, of course, the blade is sharp enough to just slice through it really easily. Let's test out some draw cuts, and you can actually curl your middle finger around this groove over here and put your finger on top and use that belly to slice. And you can see, look, it just cuts through almost like butter. And very controlled cuts. So imagine food prep is really easy with this knife and this grind, really just like butter. When it comes to carving steaks, very easy. The blade is sharp enough to create the points quite easily. For notches, you can carve directly and create the notch just by doing push cuts, but that's pretty tough, and I think it's easier just to do a side baton, just to cut into that wood. And then create another cut, maybe about 1 centimeter away. And then use that as a starting point. And you can see how much faster that would be than to do a straight cut and try to carve it in. If I want to get an angle, I can slowly cut at it here like this. For feather sticking, what I find is a more effective way, instead of just going straight down just like that, is actually to do it at an angle so that you contact the belly of the blade. And I find that you get the curls better and easier than if you were to try to just hold the blade straight and to push it through. Now this is a flat grind, so you can technically do it. You can see the curls are coming in, but I just find it easier if you angle it there and have the belly do the work. And it just feels a bit easier for the curls to come in and to cut into the wood to get that bite. So this wood is not very dry, but I'm still getting the curls, although not as thin as I'd like. Let's see if I can get them thinner. Yeah. So if I put the belly in, I get thinner curls. Then if I were to try to just do it this way, then that's more of a bite and you can hear the resistance. But with the belly angled this way, and that's the great thing about this sort of knife, with I guess any blade with a good grind, nice belly, and of course that's sharp, you can get those nice thin curls in this way. While I do not use this knife as a chopper, that's what I have my parang for, but in the event I have to use it, maybe it's a survival situation, or I just need to chop something and the only thing I have is this blade, it is strong enough, the steel is strong enough to chop. So you can chop with it. Of course, it will take time to get through something like that, as you can see. But here's the thing, if you add in a pinky lanyard like this, this allows you to put your pinky in and hold the handle at the far end just like this. Now, this allows you to swing the knife in your hand a bit loosely, but because of the lanyard, it keeps it in place and gives you that leverage and the grip for it to swing up and then down. Now, this allows you then to get more force into the chops without using necessarily more hand strength. You are just using the weight of the knife and the momentum. And you can see that's chopping quite effectively, and that's with this Nylon Steel. As you can see from this video and the previous video, the M3 is a very capable bushcraft and outdoor camping knife. Just a lot of work can be done. You saw the task I did, and let's just see if it's still sharp. One thing I had in terms of a comment about the Nylon Steel was it doesn't hold the very keen hair-popping sharp edge. So let's see if it's still sharp. So it is slicing the paper, although it's not as, I would say, as smooth and perfect as it was before I started the task. But it is still pretty sharp, I mean, considering the work that's been in. But yes, it doesn't hold that razor sharp popping edge when you work on it. However, if I were to strop this up, probably just give it maybe 20 passes, it would be actually sharp enough to, again, cut hair and cut paper. So it does hold an edge sharp enough to do all your bushcraft work, just not sharp enough to be that razor hair popping sharp. However, overall, I'm still sticking with this knife as a bushcraft knife. I think it's really underrated, as I mentioned at the start of the video. And if you're looking for a good bushcraft knife which has just a blade of over 4 inches in length, it's stainless steel, I think you should have a look at this LionSteel M3. Now let me know your thoughts on the knife, and if you have the LionSteel M3 or any other LionSteels in the bushcraft range, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content in general, please subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.